Happy Monday, folks. It is the Monday Market Report featured for the week ending September 17, 2023. Ladies and gentlemen of the coin community, beware, because these coins are getting pretty pricey. This week, just after the Long Beach Expo that just concluded, now we are back to normal kind of buying habits on some of these bigger auction websites. All right, we take a look at greatcollections.com this week for some of the most relevant, most notable graded post-1900 modern coins. And I would say some of the much older, obsolete type coinage far outclass some of the much newer moderns, but that's okay. We do have some pretty nice moderns to talk about, that are within the last 30, 40 years. But it looks like there's a fair number of people really untapping this very available kind of like classic early 20th century age of coins. And surprisingly, some of these can be picked up for rather cheap. So if you know how to cherry pick and you know your grading scale, oh boy, stay tuned here. There's some pretty monstrous sales on coins that you could go to any coin shop or any show at any given day. All you have to do is find one raw example that looks really clean. Something that you could spend less than $100 for. Oh boy, and it's game on. All right, to be sure. Things are heating up as we head into the holidays. So thank you for tuning in on this video. I know this is kind of like a staple among staples on the BlueRidgeSilverhound channel, and I'm glad to deliver yet again. Oh boy, it is exciting stuff, all right? And we are going to go ahead and jump right in. We have 24 total listings to peruse here and dissect. And as usual, we're going to start out with a lower denomination and then work our way up from there. All right. So yeah, I mean, didn't we just talk about one of these? It seems to me that these things sell every week, and there's always a really nice example in that mid-1960s region and up from there. And that's exactly what we have here. PCGS gave this one a 66 red. This is the FS101 doubled die obverse. Again, just look at the front of the coin, look at all of the devices, and you'll know why that this one is quite popular. And it's here not necessarily because of a registry or anything like that. This is just a really good investment coin. This is a very popular variety. It's in the Red Book. It's in the Cherry Picker's Guide. And it's going to be a staple for a lot of modern collectors. And these things, rest assured, will continue to go up in value as time goes on. Because there's just going to be less of them out there to grade. And the ones that are out there, as this hobby grows and the money pool becomes a lot deeper for a lot of these investors, these things will not be as readily available on the secondary market in the near future. You know, I'd say give it 10 years and you're going to see a lighten of the load here with some of these premier varieties. This particular one right here ended up hammering at $1,017 today. It is by no means the highest grade. That distinction goes to, the few mid-state 68s that are out there, and those are absolutely monster truck-sized coins. And, I mean, there's not going to be a day when these things drop to the floor. That's just not going to happen. I've seen that, it used to be that you could buy these for a couple $100, and those days are long gone. So get them while you can. If they're graded, that's an extra bonus for you. That's one less thing you have to do. All right, so we're going to go nearly 40 years deep after that 1972. And this is what I'm talking about. We're getting to some of the more obsolete classical age of coins here. So there is a trio of 1930s Lincoln wheat cents that are all just incredibly tough to grade at anything above 65. Huge challenge. And these are all branch mint coins. But even so, without a mint mark, they're still equally as tough. This is a 1933D that we're starting out here. One of my favorite dates When you look at the type style that they use for the threes on this, I guess that's kind of where things start out, conversation-wise. It's totally different than anything else that you find out there in the Lincoln Cent series. I mean, just look at the type style of the 3 in 1934 Lincolns, and you'll see exactly why. Now, this one is a toughie. I actually had one of these that I graded about 7-8 years ago, and the highest I managed to get was a 66 red. I actually did okay on it, broke even. After going through a full BU roll, I ended up submitting like 13 coins or something like that. And the best I was able to muster was a 66, so that tells you a lot there. And I paid a lot of money for that BU roll, so there is that as well. However, this is a 67 plus, not plus, just a 67 red, just a ridiculous coin on all accounts. And this one ended up selling for $2,677.50. What I like most about this one, the fields are just inexplicably clean on this one. All right, not too many marks or anything distracting holding this one back. And just as crazy as the 33, we have the 32D as well. I mean, you could put this one on the same conversation, the same tier and level of difficulty as any of the other early 30s branch mint coins. So this one right here is a 66 plus red. Not too much difference between this one and the 33, save for maybe a few small carbon spots. I could see one there at the back of Lincoln's jacket next to the Y in Liberty, and a few more on the reverse that are, quite small. So those are the type of things that graders look at when the grading becomes so close to the top level. They kind of have to really nitpick them a little bit more. All right, so very tough. 66 plus red is no slouch either. What's even better is that this one also has a CAC green bean as well. Book it. This one sold for $1,306.62. Very rarely do these come up in auction at anything above a 66. So kind of soak this one in if you can. And 31D, all right, is nothing like a 31S. And quality-wise, yeah, they're really tough. If I didn't know any better, I thought we were looking at like 1920s era Lincolns, which are the biggest dog meat decade series of the Lincoln Cents, bar none. It's given collectors of any sort of level a tough time. Even if they had deep pockets, finding one that is just really clean is very tough. So this one right here grades out 65 plus red, CAC certified, and you can just tell the difference in quality between this and even the 32D and the 33D is worlds apart. But full red examples are just crazy to find to begin with here. So yeah, you kind of have to make do with what you have. 31Ss are a lot more available in 65s and up. 31Ds are not, and that's why these things are kind of held to a much higher pricing tier than the S-Mint type of the same date. So this one right here ended up selling for $2,705.62, again showing the difficulty and the challenge with this date. And we do have a few 1920s. We got to throw them in here because out of necessity, you guys need to know that this is the decade to hunt. If you're able to find any raw example of any 1920s Lincoln Cent, especially Denver and San Francisco's, you got to take advantage of it. All right, the best that you can. The coins are not going to be cheap, especially if you buy them from a dealer. They're going to ask all the money in the world for these, raw, of course, because you want to be able to send them off to the grading companies. This one is a old green holdered PCGS Mid-State 65 red. Completely suitable for a myriad of different collecting applications, the registry set being one of them. And this one, ladies and gentlemen, at this grade level, again, not too impressive considering it looks like a red-brown, more so a red. How about this? $8,437.50 was the final tally on this one through auction. And 25S. This one certainly does look a lot more brown than the previous coin, and it's reflected on the holder. 1925S is also a coin that has a lot of issues with strike quality as well. Usually the strike quality on these, it can affect the obverse and reverse. It could be one or the other. I've seen just horrible obverse strikes on these, all the while the reverse is crisp like a tack. This one actually looks good on both sides. There's also a few really neat RPMs that you can find in this date too, so that's an extra added bonus. 65 red-brown, CAC stickered as well with the green, and I'm happy to say that this one, by the time it's all said and done, ended up selling for $2,992.50. And the final 1 cent denom for today, we're going to talk a little bit about the importance of the ownership of full red Indian head cents. It doesn't matter what date it is. Anything in mid-states 64 and higher, full red of an Indian head cent is quite a gem in any collection. And the higher they go, the price tags get higher along with it too, like this 1904 that ended up graded as a mid-states 66 plus full red, CAC certified. Not a thing wrong with this coin. The only thing wrong with this coin is it's not in my collection. And with the sales price on this one, it was never going to happen anyways. $3,947.62 was the final bid on this one. And someone's taking home a true rarity. All right, even for a common date. I mean, it's kind of crazy to think that this is as rare as it looks. You would figure these would be just as easy to find as Lincoln cents, right? Earlier dated Lincoln cents that are full red. It's just simply not the case. Indian head cents were the marquee workhorse coin of its day. Very few of these were saved in high grades. Whoa, take a look at that toning. That's the big primary reason that this coin ended up with such a high sales price. It's not full steps. That's something that I guess when you have this level of toning, and boy, it's very attractive. I would love to have known where this was stored at. I'd have to think it was like in an old holder or album of some sort. But check that out. 67 plus, no full steps on there. This is all toning, my friends, that buoyed this one into the next dimension. $3,775.37 for this toned beauty. And again, I've said it once, I'll say it again. You don't need the full steps for these to be quite valuable. You just need the numerical grade and something else with it. In this case, the eye appeal really, really shot out there beautifully. And speaking of eye appeal, this is a tough one. 52s are, they're expensive to begin with. Even before we jump into the conversation of deep cameo contrast and all that great stuff. So if you're out there feeling brave and you want to hunt through $300 proof sets, which this one truly came out of, you might as well keep an eye out for the deep cameo or cameo contrast coins, all right? So all of the devices are going to exhibit this really sharp frost surface to it. All the while, it's going to contrast heavily against a very mirrored, slick fields on this one, which it has both. I love the way that it complements both on the same coin here. 67 plus deep cameo. Geez. I mean, pretty crazy. $2,313 was the final sales price. I do not believe this is the top pop. This is a tier 2 coin for the state. Here's a 1941. 41. Yeah, that's a pretty well struck date. It's very early on in the Jefferson nickel series, and 3 years into this new series, the Mint employees were still somewhat prideful about this new design of nickel. So it carries on through all the way up to about 1949, 1950. That's when things become to kind of take a turn for the worst. NGC this time, with the grading credit, Mid-State 68 with 5 full steps, and it looks like it. This is probably one of the best looking photographed full step coins that I have seen in quite a while from great collections. Sometimes with these coins, you need to see them in hand to really appreciate what the strike quality is. So this one sold, my friends, for $1,462.50. If this was a PCGS plastic and a CAC sticker, I mean, this thing would be worth about 5x what this one is. So, again, you really have to pick your poison on which grading company you use. You know, some would say NGC is a little bit more lenient with the grading. I don't know how that could be if everybody's using the same scale all across the board. But anyways, just a really nice coin. The Buffalo Nickels were quite impressive, and this is kind of like some of those coins that I've talked to you about from the beginning of the video, where you could buy a really nice BU example from a shop or show for around $50 or less. 3070, one of the more common dates that you could speak of. Yet we've seen a few sales here recently that have eclipsed and kind of broken the trend of these things, where they've hit $3,000, $5,000, $7,000, you know, so... this one here is a 66 grade. Not totally impressive. We've seen as high as 68 on the 37D. It does have, however, a CAC gold sticker on there, and it's an OGH. So this one was holdered and graded prior to the turn of the century. All right, so impressive. I think this one more so because of the labeling and the CAC sticker. Sold for $1,280.25. If it didn't have the gold sticker, you're probably talking about a coin that's worth about $150, somewhere around there. So that gold sticker is the big driver of this one. There's the 34, a little bit tougher than it looks. NGC gave this one a Mid-State 67. The luster quality isn't as robust as on 35s, 36s, and up. This one right here is sold for $1,636.88. Could fit, again, in any collectible kind of application, whether it's a personal set or registry, you know, investor piece. It doesn't make any difference. This is just a good kind of like mid-tier coin. And we do have a couple more toughies. Once we get into the 20s, you know, the rules essentially are rewritten differently. 1928, look at that absence of luster. It's just none to speak of on this coin, which is quite normal. PCGS graded this one as 67. Really nice strike. It's pretty decent for the era. And this one sold for $3,600. Again, this is probably more of a registry set fill. Not the highest grade. I've seen these go a lot crazier than this. But, you know... this is kind of like the best second place coin that you could see. Here's a 27. Again, we're talking Philadelphia's here. We're not breaking trends or doing anything crazy. 27p. You would think would be a coin that is easy to access at any coin shop or show raw for around $100 or less. You know, at least in theory. And if you were able to catch that lightning in a bottle scenario where you have a coin that is a lot cleaner than you thought it was going to be, save, you know, for maybe the one microscopic contact mark on there, then you're going to have a beast on your hands. 67 plus here with this one, and it's sold for $18,675. Again, who would have thought that a 1927p would hit that kind of price level? And here's a 25D. Very tough one here. I mean, this one really needs no introduction. Again, the luster just plain sucks on these 1920s Buffaloes, as you would expect. They just, quality was just in the tank, in the crapper at this point. Mid-State 65 plus. CAC green bean on this one, so that, you know, the purists out there did like this coin and gave it its little bit of a blessing. This one sold for $4,960.12, and you know, the finest grade of a 25D is what, 67 plus or something like that. So this is 2 grade points lower, and it still managed to crack nearly the $5,000 level. So again, I mean, what else is new, right? We are on to Mercury dimes. We had totally hopscotched Roosevelt dimes. There was just nothing in the market this week. We do have a couple Mercs. Here's the 44S. We've talked about, this same date on a few occasions here in the recent past. Mid-States 68 full bander through NGC. This one's got a really nice heavy strike on there, and it's just a really nice blast white example. Some of you do like this, and it's sold for $1,688.62. Now, the opposite of blast white is crusty toning, and that's what we have here on this one. Whether you love it or hate it, it's the original skin that a lot of collectors opt, and they're willing to pay generally well above today's market value for these coins. Now, this one here is the 42S. The S mints of the 40s, traditionally a little bit tougher to find with a nice, decent strike to give it a full bands. This one has it. And it's also a 68 as well. This one sold for $3,438. Again, not the most rarest of dates. However, finding one with full split bands can be a challenge. And yeah, this one is a lot tougher than it looks. It's a 16S. No, this one does not have full bands. Look how smooth and worn that middle set of bands is on the reverse there. Wouldn't even have a remote shot at full bands. However, how about a 67 plus on this one? Now that's impressive, It's not a 16D. It's not even close. The mintages are just two different pieces of information on this one, but outside of that, I mean, it's a nice earlier date. A full bands example would set this one set you back easily $10,000 on this one. However, this one without it sold for $3,712.50. And we do have a few quarters. Now, here's one that I'm willing to bet that about 90% of you did not know is worth the stupidest amount of money in grades of 67 and higher. And it's not only the 61D that you see here, but also the 62D. I mean, these two are gauntlets. If you're able to get one that cracks that 67 grade and you get the plus designation on there, congratulations. I would personally sell it. Just the scarcity at the top, population-wise, of these two particular dates really pushes this one at a level that is, I don't know what's the word to say. Like, it's, I don't know. It feels very impossible and incoherent. Like this is a wild, just, like you just got slapped silly kind of price. This one sold for $5,906 for a coin that you could pick at a coin shop for what, $10 or less? So there is that. And this one does have a little bit of toning. Nothing really too crazy to make it worth, thousands more. This is just simply a power play on the grade here. 50S. Now, this is a tougher date. If we were comparing apples to apples, a 50S would be in a league on its own. And there's a couple really nice varieties for this date, too. The overmint marks are always a hoot. Mid-States 68 through NGC on this one, and it sold for $2,306.25, and best believe this is a registry set target. We did have a few standing libs. Check this thing out. 27S in an AU58. It's an everyman type coin. Wow. Very tough date. If you're able to score an AU in this date, congratulations again. That is something. This one has pretty nice clashing. You can see it on the reverse. Quite nice right above the eagle and, of America and E pluribus unum there. This one right here in this particular grade, again, I'm shaking my head, $3,775.38 with all the juice in the caboose. And here's a 20D with some nice toning. I'd say this is a very inoffensive example of toning that definitely works on this type of piece. Let's see, PCGS gave a 65 full head on this one, so it's got, again, the strike designation that a lot of SLQ enthusiasts want out of this. And a very tough date at this grade level. This one sold for $12,375, for crying out loud. Again, we're seeing the obsolete age of 20th century type coins really pushing through here this week. And here's one I'm willing to bet that probably 90% of you don't know exists. But it's a 1966 special mint set candy half dollar. It's the only one in the special strike series that you could find without the FG initials on the reverse. Similar to what we see on the business strike 82s, 72D, and whatever the other one is. 71D, I guess. And yeah, this is on the special mint set, and it's designated as the FS901 in the Cherry Picker's Guide. Very rare coin here, very important to a candy set that cares about the nuances. $1,247.62 off of this coin that is quite pedestrian in grade. It's just a 67, and most of them will grade out that way, by the way. So if you did find one of these and you successfully cherried one, send it off to PCGS and get that designation and then hit a home run. Because guess what? A 66 special mint set is less than $10 today. And the final coin for this week's Monday Market Report is one that's very near and dear to my heart because it's my birth year. 1978D Eisenhower dollar. These are really tough to grade in anything above 65. Good luck with that. Because of their relative size, they are a target for all sorts of contact marks from other Ike dollars and things like that. This one, ladies and gentlemen, hit the penultimate Mid-State 67. And not only that, it's also a CAC green sticker. Now, last time I checked, I could have gotten a grip of these Mid-State 78 Denvers at my local coin shop for under $5 a piece. So, what does it tell you when this one sold for $9,282.38? Yeah. I know, right? It's crazy. And that's what it is. It's all entertainment. That was entertaining. That Ike dollar was entertaining for closing nearly at $10,000, for crying out loud. That is a monster. Nothing is ever financial advice. Collect responsibly, grade responsibly too, if that is your thing. I had a lot of fun with you here today, guys. That's the Monday Market Report. We're wrapped up for the week. I'm your host, Sean, with BlueRidgeSilverhound. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. Come check me out at all of the main social media platforms as well. We're on Facebook again, Instagram, TikTok, you name it. And here on YouTube, my OG home. So, you guys take care, have a great week, and I will see you on the next coin video. So long.